Okay, that didn't work. Let's try it again.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Hey, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Mark It Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this evening by James Sasanti, who apparently had to go somewhere for a second. Do you want me to bring you back, James? Are you good? All right. I don't know where James went, but I'll hold it down here for a sec. We are back here, obviously, once again, to review tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. Real good episode as we are building a little bit towards both Beach Break, which is next week in Chicago, I believe. And then, of course, we have Double or Nothing coming up soon. We started tonight off with actually a new intro, which was really cool. I believe the song, and Danny, if you are out there, you can correct me on this, but I believe it was War by Sum 41, which I thought was cool. It was a nice new intro. And, nice change to show. I'm going to miss, Light the Fuse, Bring the Boom Dynamite, or however it went. But it was cool. And I'm sure we'll get James's thoughts on it in a second. Anyway, as he's figuring out what the hell's going on. Are you back, bud?
Yeah, I'm back.
Wouldn't
be Wednesday night without some technical difficulties.
Yep. I guess before we jump into the show, did you have anything quickly on the new intro of Dynamite?
I liked it. It was fresh. It was something new. Hopefully people associate it with this new era of AEW that people are really into. So bring it on.
Yeah. I think I noticed, as I've been mentioning, I've been trying to watch more Collision lately. They did bring back Saturday nights, all right, for fighting. At least the last time it was on Saturday. I don't know if they're going to use that tomorrow, for example, when it's a Thursday. But when they can use it, it's honestly such a great intro for the show. All right, let's jump into the actual episode here. Oh, go ahead, James.
No, I was just saying, I agree.
Okay. All right, as I was saying, though, let's jump in the actual episode. As we started things off with Hangman Adam Page, as he came down to the ring to adjust the crowd. And he actually starts off by questioning why anybody would cheer for him after obviously getting a huge reaction coming down after what he's done in the past 2 years. But he says it makes a difference, and he thanks everybody for doing so. He then calls the past couple of years, quote, some special kind of hell, or excuse me, some kind of special hell, unquote, saying he wanted revenge and justice after what happened to him and his family. And he did that by taking everything from someone and nearly killing that person. But he felt nothing after winning his cage match, even though he thought he would feel some sort of closure. And then he failed to even figure out if he would feel that closure after returning to the ring with that person one more time and losing. Excuse me. I do apologize. I'm coming off a bit of a head cold, so if I have some coughs or sniffles, please forgive me. As I think James froze again. So we'll figure his stuff out in a minute. Anyway, as I was saying, Page doesn't know why he couldn't get that closure in the moment. So instead, he was forced to bottle up that anger and then ended up tearing down everyone around him, forcing him to eventually make a decision. He then calls out Swerve Strickland by name, saying he will never forget or forgive what he did. But Hangman says for his own sake that he had to put that behind him. And with putting that stuff behind him, Hanger then decided to enter the Owen, where he went on to beat Josh Alexander and then Kyle Fletcher. And he now faces who everyone says is the best wrestler in the world, one Will Ospreay. Right on cue, Ospreay's music hits and he comes down, which actually immediately leads to some holy shit chants amongst a few others. I think they were chanting happy birthday. I don't know if it's Will's birthday. And a very long stare down. Eventually, Ospreay breaks the silence, apologizing for interrupting Hangman's therapy session and pointing out that despite the fact they have been in various different companies at many different times throughout their careers, this is the first time they've spoken in the ring. And he formally introduces himself to Hanger. Will then says he's loved watching Hangman grow especially taking the misfits of the Dark Order and giving them the leadership and showing them how to be cowboys, and then taking that momentum and going on to win the world championship. But it's after Hangman lost the championship where things changed for him, and he went into a bit of a dark period until last week when we finally saw Hangman smile for the first time in a long time after his win last week. And Will wants Hangman to complete his journey, and he understands all of that. But Will's biggest problem with it is it stands in the way of him winning the Owen Hart Championship. Also, Will has a big problem with the fact that while Hangman was finding his way and finding himself, he did a lot of damage to both AEW and a lot of people. Ospreay says he's been the one doing media and taking pictures with fans and showing that AEW is where the best wrestle, while Hangman, as I mentioned, is tearing apart AEW and taking out guys like Jeff Jarrett, his mentor, Christopher Danielson, Hangman's mentor, Danielson, and Ospreay's best friend in Swerve Strickland. So while Hangman has been trying to get his redemption, Double or Nothing won't be about Hangman's redemption. It'll be about Ospreay's ascension. And that leads both men to begin to step to each other and get in each other's faces. However, they are interrupted by that carny piece of shit, Don Callis, and his family, who come out onto the ramp. And Don says this is the stupidest that Will has been since he left the family. Obviously, Ospreay doesn't understand what kind of violent sociopath he is in the ring with as we welcome James back in. And as Don is saying this, Will cuts him off as he's holding Page back with one arm and talking to Don in the mic in the other. He says that he's tired of hearing Don speak, and he attempts to challenge two of any of the members of the family to face off with him and Hangman right now. However, Ospreay gets cut off twice. Once by the crowd, who keeps telling Don to shut the fuck up. So Will has to stop. And then a second time where he's trying to finish the sentence, and I believe this was the spot, but Will ended up having to stop because of the crowd, where Hangman actually stops Will by putting his hand on the hand that Ospreay is holding him with. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? Don then quickly spots the dissension and accepts the challenge and says that they can face off against any two members of the family next week at Beach Break in Chicago. So, James, are you with us?
Temporarily. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi right now. It's not. It should be fine, but I'm having a little bit of issue, so I apologize. If I lose you, I'll do my best to come back. I love this opening segment. I thought this was great. This was the original main character of AEW, alongside one of the. I don't know if Ospreay's the main character today. It's probably Swerve, but a major character in AEW, like somebody who's on the cusp of being the main character in AEW. I loved the line from Ospreay. This isn't about your redemption. This is about my ascension. I love that line. I thought that was absolutely great. Hangman really, I loved him saying, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to forgive or forget with Swerve, but I am going to put it behind me. And I think that's real. I think that's honest. And I think that's something that isn't really said all that often when it comes to professional wrestling. It's usually like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter that you tried killing me 6 months ago. We're buddies now. Like blah, blah, blah. We're both baby faces or we're both heels. So I did enjoy that. I did appreciate that.
And I think for me, that's actually a really good sign of like real life personal growth. Like sometimes you're not able to, forgive somebody for what happened, but you have to like put it behind you. Otherwise it's going to keep eating away with you, as we've been seeing with Hangman. So they're actually, instead of, like you said, instead of using wrestling logic with some of the stuff, this is more real life, like, actually kind of going to therapy type logic. So
100%.
I think it works great.
Hangman has said it before. We've said it about Hangman before. He's real. His stuff is real. It feels real. So this was just another example of that. This was just another facet of that. I'm very much looking forward to the match. As Ospreay said, like, these guys have been in so many companies together, and this is really the first time they're even speaking. Like, I thought that was crazy.
I can't even remember them interacting on BTE.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, like, the Bucks used to run into Ospreay all the time at, like, the airport and shit, and they would joke around with it. But I can't even remember them, like, doing something like that, which is, yeah, it's just nuts.
So, New Japan, Ring of Honor, AEW all this time, the Indies, it's just never happened. So, I think it's really cool that we're getting this matchup. I'm really excited for it. And the stuff with Don Callis, I'm not thrilled because I know the role they fill, and they're doing a great job with it. You know, like, these are the annoying thorn in your side heels, and there is obviously a personal connection as well. I get all that. But at what point does it feel like we're just sort of retreading things a little bit? But we'll get through it. It's going to be an interesting matchup. It's going to be Ospreay and Hangman versus Alexander and who? Is it Takeshita or is it Fletcher?
Oh, I missed it at the end there. That's my fault.
I think it's Takeshita. But so that's going to be a great matchup. We know it's going to be a great matchup. So
I think it's Takeshita because later in the night when Don called out the Outrunners, Fletcher was there.
Yeah.
Well, that makes more sense. If that's happening next week. I don't know if that's happening tomorrow or next week. I missed that too. But
so, yeah, a really great way to start the show. Two of your most popular, biggest acts in the company. So, yeah, great opening and good way to keep. I was already invested, but to just stoke those flames for what's next.
yeah, and I mean, look, this Don stuff is just going to be next week. It's just to give the can these two, coexist tag team next week. That's all it really is, and to give some heaters for the guys before their big matchup at Dynamite, or excuse me, at Double or Nothing. So it makes sense with the history and everything, so I don't mind it too much. I'm going to jump into the comments real quick. First, to say hi to Danny, who was upset he had to watch an ad to watch his own podcast. Buddy, if you want to make any money here, that's what you got to do. Sorry. And he called James the new Rev because apparently your Wi-Fi is bad.
It bounced back. We're back.
I also want to say hi to Maria. What's going on? Good to see you as always. Who called Will Ospreay the best wrestler in AEW and the world. And I think, obviously, he has a very good case for that.
When he said it, it's like, I'm the one proving that this is where the best wrestle. Yep. It's hard to argue.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I mean, the last few weeks, the wrestling in AEW has been phenomenal. And I don't even think Will's really had too much of a thing. Obviously, yeah, he had that match with Takeshita a few weeks back, but he's even like the last 2 weeks, he hasn't had any matches, and but he set the bar, and I think everyone's kind of getting closer to his level because they're all like, well, if Will's going to go out there and do that every week, then we can't go out there and be like shit. So I think it's true. I think he really is just raising the level of everybody else. Rhea also called the stuff from Hangman excellent. 100% agree there. And in reference to the Don stuff, she thought this ended a long time ago, and they need to move on. And yeah, agreed. It's just one of those things that's going to sit in the background kind of and always be there. And again, when you just need a heater match like this, it's very easy to just throw Don in there and just be like, "Ha, Will, I'm back." And then, like Bowser, and he's just like, "I'm back, and I'm taking the princess again." And Will's like, "Fuck, again, fine." And then, he beats them again. It's not going to be a long feud. It's just a 1 week thing, I imagine. Back to some more stuff from Danny, saying Will is also a really good promo. And it's funny, coming in, James, he wasn't thought to be one, but I think AEW just kind of allowing him to go out there and just be, his bruv self has really helped him gain confidence and become a better promo. So he's done great with that recently. and calling this the promo battle with the most two human-sounding characters in the company.
I really agree. This didn't feel like a wrestling promo between two characters. This felt like a conversation, a confrontation between two very real people. And I think that's what makes it so good.
Yeah, because especially, Hangman came out and was real with us, the crowd. And then Will came out and was real with Hangman on both sides of the coin, where he was like, dude, like, I understand, you're finding yourself again. I really love what you've done. But, like, recently you've been a proper asshole. And, that, and you're standing in my way of being, the AEW World Champion. Like, there is some underlying issues here between us. And it works, Will's just being straight with it. I also want to say hi to Fernando, who just joined us. What's going on, dude? Calling that a therapy promo. It definitely was from Hangman. It definitely was. But it doesn't mean, but that's what made it great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that match next week, just because watching Hangman and Will tag is going to be banana lands. And it'll help build towards Double or Nothing, which is going to be a banger of a match. So I'm not too concerned about that. Fernando already calling it a match of the year candidate, or at least it has the potential to be one. It definitely does.
It's AEW on pay-per-view. You're going to get something good.
Oh, absolutely. Except the ending of a Moxley match lately. Death Rider Moxley match. I want to be specific because I went back and watched Moxley Kenny. Was it the Lights Out match from a while back? Oh boy.
Good stuff.
Excuse me. All right. After this, as Excalibur was doing the rundown for the show, FTR and Stokely came over to interrupt and confront Tony Schiavone. So Stokely interrupts and goes after Tony, asking what problem he or Nigel have with him and FTR, because the both of them keep insulting them on commentary. And he even references the point that Tony called Stokely a snake in the grass. Stokely then responds,
that was too far, Tony. We've said some messed up things before, but a snake in the grass, that must be fighting words, no matter where you're from.
It's like calling someone a jive turkey.
Whoa. Too far. What's happening?
We're going to get demonetized now. I haven't even gotten to the women's match and we're going to get demonetized. Stokely responds by calling Tony a decrepit, pale, pasty piece of shit and shoves Shivani back in his chair. Tony gets back up and FTR gets in the way. He's like, calm down. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Sit down. It's not really about you. It's all actually about Daniel Garcia. And FTR call him out with Cash Hang. They saw themselves as father figures to Danny, and he made the decision to turn his back on them. So tomorrow on Collision, Cash says they're going to teach him a lesson the hard way like their fathers used to do before them. Dax then tells Tony to tell Nigel that they'll see him tomorrow, and the three of them leave with Stokely kind of faking out Tony to try to give him a little scare. This was fun. It was just really setting up tomorrow. But I do have to admit, the feud between Stokely and Shivani is hilarious. Also, it's just nice having Stokely on TV again, giving ridiculous insults.
I love that he was just like, you said all these mean things about them, but more importantly, you said something mean about me. It's like, okay.
That's
sure,
Stokely for you. Danny saying he didn't like the placement of this after the very excellent promo. I guess you could have put it almost anywhere. I mean, the only other place I think you could maybe put it is towards the end of the show when Excalibur was running down what was going to happen tomorrow and next week. Yeah. But it had to be a point where Excalibur was running something down. So you had one or two spots. This is where they picked it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't bug me that much. After this, we went backstage real quick. Here we go. With Anna Jay and Harley Cameron as Anna getting ready for her match, which is coming up next to a four-way eliminator match. And Harley tells Anna that all she has to do is just go out there and win, and she gets a championship shot. So that's all she needs to concentrate on. Anna turns to Harley, and I am mostly quoting here, saying Harley had her fat ass last week with Megan and Penelope, and asks if she'll have her fat ass again tonight. Harley replies with both hands because together she's got the T and Anna's got the A, and then there's a pause, and it's just like tenacity and aggression. And Anna just deadpans, looks at her, and goes, "Tits and ass." And Harley's like, "Oh, yeah, that's it." And then Harley calls out Anna's opponents before Anna tries to close things with "Who wants to get choked out?" And Harley just raises her hand. And Anna puts it down. And I almost just broke my headphones. Anna puts it down. And Harley goes, "That was the closing line." And then tells Anna to jump on her back. And then Anna rides Harley off the screen.
Phrasing.
She did.
Oh.
She literally jumped on her back and rode Harley.
We easily could have said piggyback, but we didn't. We knew what we were doing.
What happened, man?
Loved it. All right. Take away all the bonking. They have so much chemistry.
They really do.
We have loved Anna Jay here at the pod for a very long time. But we've been honest that Anna was definitely a little behind in a lot of different categories. Her promo wasn't always the best. Her ring work wasn't always the best. We could see the effort, but we knew she was struggling a little bit.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, I remember, just to jump in, like when she debuted, I believe that was like Nightmare Factory era pandemic Dynamites. She was like barely 21 and had just started at the factory.
Oh no, absolutely.
Thrown on TV because they just needed bodies. So she's only been doing this. I know. My point is she's only been doing this 5 years.
Yeah.
So, that being said, yes, she is. I don't want to say lacking, but yeah, her development's it's taking a minute. But a lot of the women here in AEW have been wrestling for far, far longer.
No, 100%. And
just giving.
What?
I said just giving context.
No, for sure. But we could see like her time in Japan did wonders for her. Her confidence is there. Her promos are better. Like I thought, I don't think she's going to be winning any promo awards, but she feels a lot more comfortable. And her ring work, as we saw in the Fatal 4-Way, incredible.
Yeah. Fernando saying she's improved a lot since her Dark Order days. Yeah, that's 100% true.
Definitely. And Harley is just, I got to give it to Harley too. Again, I know we're going to talk about the match when we get to the match, but she looked so good in the ring. Like she didn't do a lot. She didn't get to do a lot because it wasn't her match. But what she got to do, she looked so good. It's incredible seeing these women perform.
So, yeah, I mean, 100%. Sorry. I thought you were going to continue going there. But, yeah, I think Maria makes a really good point here. Not only that Harley is a special talent, but the two of them kind of remind her of the Iconics. And I think it's a little early to say that, but I get the vibe you're going for there, where they play off each other really well, and they are hilarious together, and one of them is also Australian. So
I miss Anna Jay and Ty Conti, though, or Ty Mello.
That's true. But I don't know what if Ty is going to come back anytime soon. I hope so. I love seeing her in the ring. But the two of them, Harley and Anna together, in the meantime, is going to be great.
Big time.
Also, want to say hi to who has joined us here. What's up, dude? Good to see you as always. He also makes a good joke as a TNA copyrighted. Yes,
well, in this instance, it's T&A.
Yeah, that's what you're going to have to go with there. Although I was reading in the Wrestling Observer Rewind the other day that when Vince Russo named the company, it was supposed to be the Double Entendre.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because it's Vince Russo.
Yeah, I know.
Let's not forget, they're not even the first. Test and Albert.
Yep, that's also true.
They were the first.
I think I saw somebody make that joke over on Reddit.
God.
Or maybe it was Twitter. Either way. All right, let's move on to the match James mentioned. This was a four-way AEW Women's World Championship Eliminator match. So it was Timeless Toni Storm going up against Thunder Rosa, Penelope Ford, and the aforementioned Anna Jay. So if Toni loses, whoever wins the match, even if Toni isn't pinned, would go on to get a championship opportunity against Toni. If Tony wins, all of these women go to the back of the line. So early in this match, and I only bring this up because it ties into the end, Tony was going for a pinfall on Anna, and she went for a bridging pin, and Penelope came over and she punted her. It was more of a stomp, I guess, than a punch. But she used that to break up the pin. Tony sold it like death. Taz had a very difficult time trying to explain it away. He's like, we have different equipment down there. I don't really know how it feels, but it clearly hurts.
At least he's honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% true. We don't really know how that feels, but it's gotta hurt. But
I've been told it hurts.
Yeah.
I've been told it hurts.
I'm sure it hurts in a different way, but it has to hurt. Anyway, jumping more towards the end of this, Tony and Thunder, aka Thunder Tits, were starting to work together and attempting to double suplex Penelope Ford after they had taken out Anna and Penelope in the corner. When Megan Bayne came down, and she just quickly took out both women. Anna then gets back into the ring, and she confronts Bayne and actually gets the upper hand for a minute, but Ford is able to come in from behind and interrupt that, and then Jay gets taken out with a Megan Bayne powerbomb. Then, as you mentioned, James, Harley came down into the ring with a lead pipe, and she knocked Bayne out of the ring before going after her with the pipe and chasing her all the way into the back. Back in the ring, Ford was able to take advantage of the Megan Bayne powerbomb and got in an Indian deathlock onto Anna. Also, I don't know if we can still call it an Indian deathlock. Depends, I guess, from what part of the country that deathlock was invented, or excuse me, part of the world that deathlock was invented. Anyway, but that leaves Tony wide open to get some revenge, stomping Ford to break up the submission.
I think we got to stop saying that word because we might get demonetized.
I only said it twice. I'm fine. So that breaks up the submission, and then Tony locks in one of her own, the TCM Chicken Wing, great name, and that forces Penelope to tap out. After the match, Thunder comes over to congratulate Tony, and Tony actually raised Thunder's hand before the two hugged it out. So, James, as you said, this was a very well-worked match. I wish there was more of it actually on TV instead of, in the commercial. I always say it's the number one thing I miss about watching this on the TBS app is I used to get the picture-in-picture, and I don't get it on Max. I hope they can somehow work any of that out. But I think it's an ads thing. But, yeah, no, this was an awesome match. And I was a little surprised to see Tony win here. Like, if they wanted to set up a match at Double or Nothing, they could have done it here. Like, if, I don't know if they want to burn Thunder Tony just yet. But, excuse me.
You're good.
If one of them had won, it would have been cool. But I'm okay seeing Tony win here. It works for me.
Oh, buddy, you're suffering. I was a little. I wasn't thrilled with this. The match itself was a lot of fun. Everybody looked really good. It was a good match. I just wasn't crazy about a fatal four-way eliminator. It's like, what's the point? Like, if Tony beats anybody in the match, the other two contenders all still have a fair claim to her because she didn't beat them. And if somebody pins anybody but Tony, why is Tony in the match? They didn't really earn it. It might as well have just been a number one contenders match. So I kind of would have preferred if Tony wasn't in the match, but considering she won, it didn't matter in the long run anyway. But I guess just in general, it felt a little contrived, at least to me.
I guess that's fair.
I understood everything. Like, I didn't have trouble with it. I just didn't think it was the best idea.
Yeah, Maria found it confusing, and yeah, I think contrived is the right word. It was definitely, I found it unique, and I was looking forward to it. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I agree that you say it out loud.
Yeah, but again, match was really good. Lots of good spots for everybody. Anna Jay looked a lot better in the ring. Penelope Ford just always delivers. Just always delivers. Harley Cameron and Megan Bayne looking good. We got a nice Thunder Tits chant when they were going for the double suplex. So good stuff. And I liked at the end, Thunder gave Tony the props and was, like cheering her on that she won. So I enjoyed it. Good way to get Tony on TV. I wish there was a better way to get Tony on TV other than sort of a contrived eliminator match. But didn't they say she's now like 12-0 in eliminator matches?
Something like that. Yeah. Most women have, or most everybody has won their eliminator matches in AEW. There's only been a few who have lost. They mentioned a couple of them. I know Mariah was one of them. She lost to Anna Jay off the top of my head. They mentioned one of the Joshis had won one as well. But I think, Tony, I believe, is undefeated in these eliminator matches. But I think I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do with Tony, because she's obviously being a real fighting champion in this run. And a lot of times when AEW does fighting champion, it means they're going to have a shorter title reign.
Which I'm okay with. Nothing against Tony. She's obviously the star of the division. But she is now, a 4-time women's champion?
Yeah.
She is like, I don't even think there's a 3-time women's. No, Sheeta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sheeta.
Yeah.
My girl.
But still, no offense to Sheeta, I don't think she's getting near that title anytime soon.
Probably not. Well, I mean, she's got to come back in the country first.
Right. But I'm okay with her not having the longest run. She dominated the division in her last run, and she obviously had the match probably of the year at this point with Mariah. Yeah. She doesn't really need a long title reign. I don't necessarily want her to lose it to Mercedes, but I'm okay with her not being champion for a super long period of time.
Yeah, I think it's just, if she does lose it at All In, and she just won it back, a month ago, that's like a 3-month range. She's just going out there and just putting on banger matches right now. Yeah. And honestly, really helping to elevate the women's division. I think she had another one on Collision too, another eliminator match. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head because I watched it really late the other night. But that's what she's been doing, and I've been really enjoying this run from her because she doesn't need the title necessarily, because she's become such a focal point of the women's division that I imagine she probably drops it all in. So let her get her defenses in now. Let her help elevate a lot of other people. And if it means having this kind of contrived match, then so be it. That's what she's doing right now. She wants to face as many people as possible.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And that's cool with me because it, like I said, it helps get more women on TV.
Yeah, no. I will never have a problem with things that don't really make a lot of sense if it's fun or if it's cool. Rule of cool, baby. Yeah. Sometimes you just go with it if it's enjoyable. You don't got to overthink it. So that's where I'm at here.
I agree. And let's go into the comments, I guess, to see what people were saying about this. Fernando called it a very good match. I obviously have to agree. It was very much enjoying the Beavis and Butthead type humor from them. Saying back in the day, women getting punched or hit below the belt was off limits. Glad we got past that. I think it's more of just a Tony thing. Hopefully it helps everyone else get past it, but I feel like for the most part, it's just a Tony thing. Maria saying Ford should be in the running for most improved wrestler of the year. That's interesting. Yeah, early, I can see her being a contender for that. And it's saying she's always been good. She just doesn't get the TV time, even back in the early AEW days. I think it's been a lot of. She used to get some TV time. A lot of it was with Kip. In the very beginning, it was with Joey Janela, and then it was with Kip. But she was always, on TV. I just don't think she was wrestling as much. And then Kip was doing, he got hurt and then was doing whatever he was doing with that box. And then she obviously missed a lot of time with her health issues. So obviously that's why she wasn't on TV for so long. So I'm glad she's been put back in a position of, I don't want to say prominence, but where she's on TV nearly every week. Yeah. So it's nice to see that she's been able to do that upon her return.
I agree.
Maria is still convinced that 5 belts Monet is taking the championship at All In.
No.
Maria, I like you, but there's a reason I accidentally call you Mercedes all the time. And no. And I want to say hi to Navarro. What's up, dude? This was not for the title it was an eliminator match. So if any of the women won, even if they didn't pin Tony, they would have gotten a shot at the title. And if Tony won, which she did, then none of these women get a shot at the title. They all have to go to the back of the line. So they're all at the back of the line now. Like we said, a little contrived, but it got the women on TV. Yeah. Do we remember the match with Ray and Ford?
Ray.
Maybe he means Anna Jay. Yeah, well, that was still pandemic era. I remember the one. It was the death match. Oh, Ty and Ford. Well, there was the death match, right? It was Ty and Ford against. Oh, sorry, it was Ty and Anna against Penelope and it wasn't Britt, was it? No, who was that? Oh, and the Bunny. That was that match. That match was nuts.
Yeah.
Well, I love that match. That was a great one. Oh yeah. All right, I want to move on, and I don't know if it happened at this point of the show, but this was the main women's segment, so I figured we'd talk about it here because I saw this on Reddit. We got a quick spider graphic tease.
Yeah, that was weird. Right? Cool.
And according to Reddit, this is for I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right. Thekla, who's coming over from Stardom. A Fightful report confirmed that she did sign with AEW. James, I don't know if you know anything about her, but the internet seems pretty excited for her to come over here stateside.
What I know is that a lot of people didn't think Thekla was going to AEW. A lot of people thought Thekla was going to WWE. So the fact that that didn't happen is pretty interesting. I know a lot of stuff that's happening over in Japan with the women is very up in the air right now. A lot of people, like a lot of things are in flux for the Jojis. So talent is talent. I'm excited to get her here. I'm not too familiar with her, but I am familiar enough with her. Bring it on.
I got to say, I've been seeing a lot more stuff on the front page Squared Circle regarding a lot of different Joshi talents. I know some of the big names just retired, and a lot of their contracts are coming up, and there's been a bit of a scramble here in the in the western part of the world for these talents from both Triple H and Tony Khan. So if this seems like a big deal, congratulations to Thekla for getting hopefully the deal she wants. And I'm excited to see her in AEW, but I don't know.
Just so everyone knows, Thekla is not Japanese, by the way. She's Austrian, but she got her rise in Japan. So just when she shows up, don't be surprised.
Yeah, I was gonna say I knew she wasn't Japanese. I wasn't sure where she was from. I didn't do my proper research on this, but outside the Reddit thread. But yeah, no, it looks really cool, and I'm glad that the Joshis are finally getting the international recognition they deserve. As the old saying goes, if you've seen it in a match, it was done first in a Joshi match, or was it invented by a Joshi? And now there's this huge talent scramble for them. And not only that, like you said, there's a lot of things in flux in terms of contracts expiring, retirements, some of the promotions being a little in flux. So something to definitely keep an eye on if you're a really in the weeds wrestling fan as things continue to move forward. And we look forward to seeing Thekla soon. After this, we came back to the ring, and we went for an official announcement from the Hurt Syndicate. Before the Syndicate made their way out, we saw Crew head out down into the crowd around ringside before the Syndicate made their official entrance. MVP came down and had a very simple question. AEW is where the best wrestle, then where are all the great tag teams? The Hurt Business likes to hurt people, but who are the ones who are going to come down and step up and take the titles away? Top Flight then comes out and says that they may be down on their luck lately, so they see this challenge as an opportunity. The Hurt Syndicate might like to hurt people, but they are a tag team that never dies. However, when Darius asks the crowd if they're ready to see a miracle, the Top Flight gets attacked from behind by MJF, who's actually out there, AT jeans, hands taped up, and he bloodies both brothers and power bombs Dante off the ring apron. A very jacked up MJF then jumps into the ring, takes the mic from MVP, and gets right in Bobby Lashley's face, screaming that he hurts people. Bobby then slowly takes the mic from MJF, and with a very coy smile, tells MJF that he'll have an answer for him next week. So, James, this is interesting. I don't know if we're actually setting up for the Hurt Syndicate versus Top Flight. I wouldn't be super surprised if it ended up being another one of those three-way tag defenses where it was Crew, Top Flight, and the Hurt Syndicate at Double or Nothing. But in the meantime, MJF did a pretty damn good job of attempting to prove himself to Bobby Lashley.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're looking to make an impact, that's the way to do it. I felt terrible for Top Flight. Yeah, we've always kept up there with some of the best tag teams in AEW and championship caliber teams, and I think we could do it again. Immediately gets bodied by one guy. Like, God damn. And granted, they are the guys that you do this to. It sucks, but it's true. Like, if you're going to take out a tag team, Top Flight is probably on that list of guys that you could do it to, and they'll be fine eventually. But man, that was sad. That was sad. I'm ready for there to be resolution between MJF and the Hurt Syndicate. I would love it if Bobby just says no again, but I don't think they're going to do that again. I found something interesting, and MJF talked about it a little bit later too. When he really emphasized wearing the Dynamite diamond ring, I would love it. I've been advocating for somebody else to win it for years. I think Bobby or Shelton, most likely Bobby, winning it in the Battle Royal, or winning the Battle Royal to go on to face MJF and taking it from MJF would be a great way for MJF to break away from them eventually if that's what they're going to do. Because that bling would look good with the Hurt Syndicate. Like, you put that on MVP, fantastic.
Yeah, it's Bobby's, but MVP just wears it during matches and shit.
Exactly. I think that'd be great. And it would be something fresh for everybody involved. And I think we all know it's just not going to last forever. So what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, there's also a lot of speculation, and I guess we'll probably get into a little bit more later, but there's the always looming Cedric Alexander. So
I have a weird feeling we're just never going to get him. And it's all because of Swole.
I mean, I don't know, because, Cedric, and this was both on CVV podcast, Cedric and the Hurt Syndicate have both said they would like to, run it back and finish what they all started. So,
all right,
there might be still a chance. Now, I don't know if it's going to be something that happens in the near future or when MJF probably fucks up and they kick him out. So, I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
After this, much to the dismay of Excalibur and Tony Schiavone, we went backstage with the Elite. So after they admonished the announcers for their disdain, and Okada called out his opponent later, who was Kevin Knight, who Okada says, "Kevin Knight, I hope you have a good night, bitch." The Bucks trio's partner for this evening, Ricochet, comes over to join them. Matthew says that their trios match tonight was his idea and asks why Ricochet wanted to team with the Bucks again. Ricochet says that he knows the Bucks have a Swerve problem, and he's already beaten Swerve twice. And you add that to the fact that he knows how to beat Mike Bailey, and he knows how to beat Mark Briscoe. Ricochet is very confident that if the Bucks follow his lead, he will lead them to victory. The Bucks are cool with this, and they give him fist bumps, and Ricochet walks away. And then as the Elite open the door to their locker room, they are surprised to see the Death Riders sitting in there with Marina Shafir at the door. Matthew asks if they can help them with something as Maria slams the door in the cameraman's face. So, yeah, very, very subtle, but big development here, James.
I mean, there's a lot of potential for this to be really, really cool. But there's also a lot of potential for this to go sour. I think historically, and I think this is fair to say, historically, whenever bad guy groups get too big, a lot of the aura, a lot of the mystique goes away, and it just becomes a little contrived, and it just becomes, unfortunately, just not too entertaining the way it should. Look at the NWO. The moment everybody became a member of that team, WCW went under. Corporate ministry, Jesus Christ. I feel like there are at least 7 groups from TNA that I can mention off the top of my head that went way too big at various points.
I'm gonna guess Aces and Eights is one of them.
All right, yeah, that was the top of the list. And they were all fucking losers. But yeah, so the Death Rider Elite combo, intriguing, because there's a lot of history there. I don't know if people remember when the Blackpool Combat Club feuded with the Elite years ago.
I mean, forget that. I mentioned it earlier. When Moxley joined the company, the first guy he went after was a member of the Elite.
Yep.
So I know it was Kenny, and they're not cool now, but still, the Bucks have no love lost for John Moxley.
Eric saying, "Don't call Eric Bischoff's son a loser." I mean, his dad's one, so I guess it's only fair.
So yeah, another example. Good one.
Yep, good one. Good one.
There's no posters in here.
So yeah, I'm excited because I think it could, like, if we are stuck enduring this Moxley title reign for however much longer, spicing things up with some Elite flavor is a good way of doing it. And it definitely adds some nuance to the Elite storyline. So, got to let it play out a little bit. I'll be disappointed if the Elite are why Mox beats Joe next week, but I think that's probably where we're going.
I mean, look, I don't need a full-blown, like, Elite writers or whatever they're going to end up calling them, but, you know, a working relationship between the two factions, a compromise, an alliance, whatever you want to call it. Alliance was what I was looking for, and I was stalling. Well, whatever you want to call it, like, I'm okay with that for a little while as long as their interests align. And obviously, right now, those interests align because you have dudes like Swerve and Hangman and probably Ospreay in some way, shape, or form. And I guess at a certain point, like Joe and the rest of the ops, like, there's going to be some sort of, we'll scratch your back, you'll scratch ours, and we have common enemies, so we might as well, work out something here, probably just up until All In, because I really like that's where it's really going to lead to, because I can see, I still think the Bucks are going to cost Hangman against Ospreay. And I can be the, Moxley being, just like, yeah, I'm not fucking facing Hangman again. Like, he doesn't deserve it. So, something like that. So I think a short-lived an alliance works, but anything past All In, because Moxley should lose, and then that all should blow up in everybody's face.
Yeah.
And then it ends. That I think is as far as it goes. If they do a whole Elite Writers thing, it's going to be bad. I agree with you there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maria says Elite Riders is a clever name. Thank you. It was that or like the Death Elite, and I was just like,
The Blackpool Combat Elite.
That Blackpool Elite Club sounds better, but that's also a Beck, and now I'm hungry. All right. After this, we had our next match, and this was announced earlier in the show where Nick Wayne was going to be defending his Ring of Honor Television Championship against a person from Christian's past. Now, I think this was set up where Christian was the person who booked this. They didn't really make it too obvious, but then at some point, I think Excalibur mentioned Christian wanting to do this to happen. So I don't know. Either way, the big reveal was Rhino, who I should have known because it was announced he was going to be there like 5 days ago. I just forgot.
Right. I didn't remember it when they talked about it on the show. I forgot about Rhino when they were talking about it on commentary, but then I was like, oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah, because I think he's going to be there tomorrow too.
Yeah, he is. He left TNA. He's no longer with TNA.
Oh, interesting. So free agent Rhino. Cool.
Yep.
Anyway, this match was a lot shorter than I expected it to be. But just, I don't know, maybe I didn't expect it much, but it definitely went pretty different than I thought because this was like 98% Rhino. And even to the point where Christian tried to get involved and Rhino knew Christian so well that he was able to avert him grabbing his foot and hit a massive power spine buster, onto Nick Wayne that Wayne was able to kick out of. That led to Rhino going for a spear, but Wayne was able to dodge it. And then when Rhino came back, Wayne quickly caught him with a kill switch and retained his championship. So that was the match. Like, that wasn't the whole match. It was just all Rhino the whole time. And then Wayne hit like an offensive move, and that was it, which was a little weird.
All right. I love Rhino. And I will always, always, always pop for the gore. One of the best moves in professional wrestling. You can't change my mind. I've been watching Rhino for several years in TNA, and God bless him. He shows up.
That's all he's got left.
But other than his spine buster, and maybe if we're being generous, his belly-to-belly suplex. That's it. What we watched tonight was a Rhino match. He gets some offense in. The other guy is able to beat him somehow. And then typically, we didn't get it tonight, but typically after the bell, Rhino hits the gore anyway. So I'm expecting that tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to come tomorrow.
Yeah. I love Rhino. I love Rhino. To Eric's point, nobody can do a spear anymore now that Braun exists. It's not a spear, it's a gore. It's genuinely, I know I sound like I'm being a pretentious douche when I say this. It's honestly different. The way Rhino hits a gore is so different than how a typical spear is hit. Nothing against Braun. His spear is one of the best I've ever seen. But there is something different with a gore. But yeah, I was expecting Luchasaurus.
I don't know where he is in his recovery. I know he's doing better. I don't know if he's
I expect him sooner than later, but I think it was just wishful thinking with the mystery of it all. But I don't even know what I want him to do when he comes back.
Kill Christian. But then I don't know. After that, like, he killed Christian and then what?
There's a long line.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't know. I was expecting just a little bit more to beat him. It was literally just a kill switch. That's what made it weird for me. Also, just to mention, after the match, as Christian came into the ring with the title, and then there was a bit of tug of war between him and Nick Wayne over it. And then Christian was just like, dude, I'm putting it on your waist like I did last week. And Wayne's like, okay, and like kind of sarcastically puts his arms out. And then Christian goes to do it and pulls the title back, looks at it, and then drops it at Wayne's feet and walks out. So Christian's just being a massive ass.
A really big shit-eating grin on his face.
Yeah, he is really putting his kid through the ringer right now for some weird reason. Did want to jump on a couple other comments here. Saying Rhino is awesome. Why not go big time against Spike Dudley?
I mean, there is history there.
Yep. Also, I only did that up to set up this one as towards our previous comments saying that, when factions get too big, they get annoying. The Dudley boys got too big. They should have just been Spike and Bubba. First of all, Devon disrespect. Second of all,
justify my brother.
Even more Big Dick Dudley and Sign Guy Dudley.
Sign Guy Dudley, yeah.
Come on.
What about Dances with Dudley?
I forgot about him. Honestly, those are my 5 Dudleys.
Hold on, let's see.
Those are my top 5 Dudleys because after that, it does get a little ridiculous.
Let's see, the Dudley family.
Does Stacy Keebler count as a Dudley?
She's the Duchess of Dudleyville. Come on.
All right, somebody might have to get dropped out of my top 5.
Shucky, ducky, quack, quack. All right, keep going. I want to see if... All right, Dudley family. All right.
Here we go.
We've got... I'm trying to find members. Give me a second. Members. All right. Big Dick Dudley. Bubba Ray Dudley. Chubby Dudley, Dances with Dudley, Dudley, Devon Dudley, Sign Guy Dudley, Spike Dudley, Snot Dudley, Luke Dudley, Butch Dudley. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of them. And no Stacy Keibler on that list. What the hell? We should edit the Wikipedia.
All right, so Dudley's outside of ECW.
Ah.
The Backseat Boys, or the Backseat Dudleys. Psycho Sam Dudley. Schmuck Dudley.
That's a great name.
Stacy Keibler, the Duchess of Dudleyville.
I think she was dethroned from her position.
Oh my God. Rev. Steve Sharippa, who you might know as Bobby Bacala from The Sopranos.
He was a Dudley.
His cousin Steve Dudley.
Where?
In TNA.
Oh my God.
There's Big Vern Dudley, Urkel Dudley, and Dog Puke Dudley.
Is Urkel Dudley actually Jaleel White?
If only. And then there was Terrell Dudley and Terrence Dudley.
That's far too many Dudleys. We only needed 5, and then Stacy worked.
So, admittedly, those last 2 Dudleys, Terrell and Terrence Dudley, are the sons of Devon Dudley. I'll give them a pass.
Okay, yeah, no, those work, but that's Dudley Gen 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby Bacala.
I forgot to put up the tangent thing. There we go. You're welcome. You know it. We just spent 4 minutes on Dudley's because of it. Glad I totally sidetracked the show. Yeah, but you know what? If you didn't, we wouldn't have known that Bobby Bacala was a fucking Dudley. So it was totally worth it. I guess to get things back on track here, Maria's suggesting Christian versus Nick Wayne at Double or Nothing. Nick's going to be in Japan for Best of Super Juniors during Double or Nothing. So unless he flies here and flies back, I think that might, if anywhere, that might happen at All In.
Would you say at this point, because I would you agree Kip Sabian serves almost no role in this group at this point?
Yes, because he is just there to side-eye Nick and then follow Christian.
He's going to take an L. He's going to take an L, I guess, in the Nick Wayne versus Christian rivalry, and that's it. I think but there's got to be something more you could be doing with him. That
and Mother Wayne is going to put him on his ass.
Yeah.
And then Christian probably takes massive heat.
I'm terrified. I'm terrified that Mother Wayne is going to side with Christian.
Oh, that would be so awesome. It would be so bad in a good way. Oh, that'd be evil.
Oh.
That would be, wow. That would be so
kid.
Evil.
Poor kid.
I like it.
All right, keep going.
After this, we had a quick little backstage promo from Roosh. He's just really pissed off that Kevin Knight cost him in the $100,000 four-way match on Collision, and he wanted the money. Obviously, didn't get it. So, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. After this, we had Swerve Strickland, Mark Briscoe, and Speedball Mike Bailey versus the Young Bucks and Ricochet. This was just another week of good old PWG fun, which led to another great match. Because apparently the Bucks came back. We're just like, yeah, look, we're just going to do PWG matches again and just prove to everybody how much fun it is. Yeah, and everyone's just like, okay, we're cool with that. Even if you don't like their characters, you're going to go out there and see them have a great fucking match. Jumping to the end here, after the hot tag, Swerve was able to take out the Bucks and the occasional running through Ricochet, singling out Matthew eventually, who got hit with 4 different finishers, which culminated in the Froggy Bow from Briscoe. But Nicholas was able to come in and break up the Swerve pin. There was a bunch more chaos, which eventually ended with Swerve attempting to climb to the top rope for the Swerve Stomp, but Ricochet was able to hang onto his leg and stop him, forcing Ricochet to jump off of the top and knock Ricochet off of the apron. Briscoe then took out Nicholas on the outside. Speedball did the same with Ricochet. and Swerve attempted to vault himself back into the ring through the ropes to Matthew. I think he was going kind of for like that DDT he does or whatever it was, but Matthew actually caught him as he was vaulting into a small package and kept Swerve down for the very surprising 3 count, stunning both Swerve and I think all of us. So, James, as I said, another great PWG Reseda style match.
Yep.
Loved every second of it. Chaos, high spots, the whole shebang. But wow, I was not expecting this ending. And I'm not mad about it. I mean, obviously, I'm mad in a kayfabe. Oh my God, the Buck stole one thing. But this, I don't know what possibilities this opens up, but it has to open up some good ones because Swerve's got to be furious. He not only lost clean, but he lost to an inside cradle or small package, whatever it was, to a Buck. He's got to be pissed, and I love it.
I think realistically, this opens us up to possibly seeing Ricochet actually join the Elite, because that's what his pitch to them was today. I mean, he's kind of like advocating for himself.
Yeah.
What did I say?
No, you said Ricochet. I missed. My brain went the wrong way.
Gotcha. Like, he's been advocating for himself. Like earlier in the night, he was saying, like, I know how to beat Swerve. With me, we're going to beat Swerve. And that's exactly what happened. Beyond that, sometimes it is good to just have those shock wins. Yeah. Like Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, Ricochet, they're not some underdog team. Like, the Young Bucks are some of the best, are one of the best tag teams in professional wrestling history. They've been doing it for, at this point, decades.
Yeah, probably
or a decade and a half at the very least. Why shouldn't they be able to just get a roll-up win here and there? I want to believe that wrestling matches can just end, It shouldn't happen all the time, but that level of surprise, that level of shock, it's a good thing. So I'm for it. I don't have an issue with it. It's if Bryan Danielson could be Mr. Small Package, why not?
Yeah, I really liked Excalibur sold it where he was just like, tag team specialists, the Young Bucks able to overcome all of the chaos and come out with a surprise win against, singles, mainly singles guys, Swerve Strickland. And I thought that was a great way to sell it. So, yeah, was this a very surprising win? As Maria said, like she had to pinch herself. Like, yeah, it was, but it makes so much sense. And when AEW does do one of these, it works very well in the storyline where, as I said, Excalibur able to protect the guy who took that shocking loss because, it makes sense that the tag team guys would be able to focus through the chaos and surprise their normally singles wrestler opponent. So very well done, very well covered by Excalibur. He always does a great job with that. And I'm cool with it. I'm really excited to see where it goes. Maria asking a very interesting question there. Does Ricochet replace Jack Perry?
I have no idea what's going on with Jack Perry.
Yeah, we have to find him first.
It's a little frustrating, if I'm going to be honest. Not even because I'm the biggest Jack Perry fan or advocate, but it's like the kid lost so much of his career to the suspension, the real glass suspension. He lost like almost a year of his career there. And now he's just gone off TV for months. Well, I don't understand. I don't understand. So I have to believe there's a plan here. Otherwise, something is just not adding up.
Honestly, I kind of wish he was still in Japan almost. Like he was doing better work with House of Torture than anywhere else. So very weird. Very weird. Do you know what's saying Ricochet has Swerve's numbers even in the triples match or triple? Yeah. I almost said triple threat. No, triple threat match, trios match. Maria saying Jack should have never gotten suspended. That was probably a legal thing. They probably just had to suspend everybody. but it shouldn't have been as long as it was.
Yeah, no, I think a suspension was fine because you do that when there's an investigation or if there's something going on.
Yeah, especially like if you're investigating, you just do it with pay and just keep everyone at home so they're away from each other.
And even though I don't think he did anything super wrong or really wrong, he did instigate that situation with the real glass comment. Nobody's defending what the other guy did, but like, you talk shit, you get hit. It's
yeah,
just,
a little bit.
The guy had been hitting far too often at that point.
Very true.
Yeah. So all that said, yeah, no, it was ridiculous what happened with it.
Yeah.
But going back to that question of does he replace Jack Perry? I mean, it could be a 5-man group if you think about it. You could have.
They were for a very long time, or at least at the start of AEW.
Yeah. You could have the Bucks be the tag team guys. You could have Okada finally ascend to the main event, be a main event guy for the world title. And then you could have Jack and what's his name? Ricochet going for the mid-card titles. Although I still have it in my gut that we're going to see Jack Perry join the Death Riders.
Especially now that Pac's hurt.
Yeah, they could use the numbers.
Yeah. And, seeing the earlier elite Death Rider, I almost called it a conclave because that's just stuck in my head at the moment. But their little, powwow there, maybe, they give the Death Riders Jack's contract or something, like that's the peace offering, so to speak, is Jack Perry is now a member of the Death Riders. Like, I think that could work out very well to get him into that group.
Maybe.
Also, I looked it up, at least according to Wikipedia. The Bucks have officially been wrestling since October 2004, so you can say over 20 years. Yeah. Also, apparently, they started in what was High Risk Wrestling, which was Matt's own independent company.
They've all done that.
I did not know that. Yeah, but dude, it ran for 5 years, so it wasn't just like some little, indie like.
No, I think it was, but
I mean, it was some little indie fed, but like,
and that's not knocking them. That's not knocking them. Good on them.
Yeah, and they had Marty Jannetty there, which is funny. Joey Ryan was in it. Carl Anderson was in it.
Yeah, do you know the Marty Jannetty lore? Like the headcanon that fans have?
The Marty Jannetty? No.
So the theory is because the Bucks obviously hit so many super kicks in a match, right? But they never really win with super kicks, right? The idea is the Bucks learned the super kick from Jannetty,
and that's why it's worse.
That's why it's worse than like Sweet Chin Music super kick.
That's pretty funny. I always just was like, well, yeah, they're small, and obviously everybody wants to be, if you're small like that, everybody wants to be Shawn Michaels. So of course you would imitate him, but no one knows Sweet Chin Music. But yeah, that makes it funnier.
I love that lore. I think it's just pure like headcanon that fans have come up with, but I've accepted it as the reason.
Yeah, because I'm trying to regal it. That's just funny as shit.
Yeah, right?
I like that a lot more. I'm going with that one from now on. All right. After this match, we went backstage for an interview with Will Ospreay, where Renee tried to ask him about his upcoming tag match next week with Hangman Adam Page against the Don Callis family. But before Will could say anything, he's immediately interrupted by MJF. Max, after shilling the new Dynamite Diamond Ring replicas, he says that he wants Will to go on and win the Owen and then go on to win the AEW World Championship so that he can get another easy dub and take back his AEW World Championship. It'll just be like taking candy from a British baby. Ospreay asked why Max wasn't in the tournament in the first place if he wants his title back, and he says it's because Max doesn't want to work hard and because Max knows if they face each other again, it will end with Will dropping Max on his head like he did in Wembley. Max comes back and says that Will is obviously the reason they put directions on shampoo bottles, which is just a phenomenal insult, and explains that he hopes they wrestle again because Will will find out again that there's nobody on the level of the Devil. Max then goes to walk away, but Ospreay grabs him, pulls him back real close, and says that's where Max is wrong because his name is Will Ospreay and he's on another level.
I enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was short, but it was good.
Yeah, these guys should always be somewhat in each other's orbit. It shouldn't be a Swerve Hangman situation where there's this deep, passionate hatred between the two, but it should be these are two guys that represent AEW. They're going to be part of AEW for a very long time on a main event level. So in some way, shape, or form, they need to every once in a while remind each other that they're there. Crazy that it's taken this long for AEW to come up with replicas for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. That feels like something they should have done years ago.
Yeah, like, every big sporting league has those that you can get them all the time. Like, shit, eBay sells them, then they're cheap knockoffs, but you can go buy a 95 Chicago Bulls ring if you really want one.
Yeah. So crazy that it's taken this long. I loved Renee sort of having like an amused face when MJF said that he wanted Hangman to beat Mox at All In. Renee, your silence speaks volumes. I hope you know that. Your silence is compliance. That you are part of the bad guy team. I see right through you, Miss Paquette. I see right through you.
To go a little JR on this, I mean, they do have a young daughter, and Moxley bringing home the extra money as champion has to be helping around the house. I'm sure she wants that paycheck to keep coming in.
I know we were just talking about Bobby Bacala, but you just described Renee Paquette as a mob wife. I refuse this.
No, I could describe her as a parent who obviously understands wanting more money to help raise a child.
They tried killing Orange Cassidy. Where was the money in that? There's no money. They tried pouring chemicals down the guy's throat backstage.
And?
Enabler! You're an enabler!
It's not her business.
That's crazy.
I don't watch the show, Paul.
Every time Willow was about to be interviewed by Renee, and then all of a sudden Marina and Mox just beat the shit out of Willow. It was all a trap. All a trap. I digress because it's giving me a headache. But I see right through you, Renee. That Canadian niceness is bullshit.
She's been in America far too long. I did forget my favorite part of this is after MJF walked away, Will goes and apologizes to Renee, and he goes, "Yeah, that'll end." That's how it ended. Maria's saying that them not selling Dynamite Diamond Rings is not as bad as never selling Lucha Bros mask. That's on the Lucha Brothers. It's not on the AEW actually, because the Lucha Bros get custom masks from like a mask maker, and like they'd have to license it with him. It'd be a whole to do. So one
of my biggest regrets, Rev, not buying one of Penta's masks at Hog, because I'm never going to get that opportunity again.
Yeah, probably not.
Now that he's in WWE, we're just never going to get that again.
I mean, maybe in the far future, but yeah, at least we got the picture.
Yeah.
All right. After this, we then went to a commercial and then came back to the sit-down interview with Jamie Hayter. Obviously, Mercedes got the one-on-one with Renee last week, and this was the return interview. So Renee starts by asking Jamie what this opportunity means to her, and Jamie says it means a lot more to her than it does Mercedes, and that she refuses to allow Mercedes to represent Owen Hart, calling her the antithesis of everything Owen was. Jamie then says she wants to learn who the real Mercedes is behind all of the dancing and the catchphrases when they get into the ring with each other. Renee then asks about Mercedes' comment of seeing a bit of herself in Jamie, which Jamie immediately scoffs at, saying she is insulted as she is nothing like Mercedes, as she doesn't claim to be anything, and instead reciprocates actions, even though it's Mercedes who's the one who's always running away from her. Jamie says she doesn't have Mercedes' resume, but she does have integrity, grit, and a reason to hurt Mercedes because she doesn't deserve to walk around like she is the second coming. Renee then tries to ask about Jamie's back injury, but Jamie cuts her off, saying the injury is irrelevant as she is 100%. However, as she goes on to talk about Mercedes again, Monet comes in from behind and jumps Hayter, and the two fight out of the interview room. We quickly went to the desk, and then the two women had their brawl spill into the theater box seats at the near the front of the building, and that spilled out through there and onto the stage, where Hayter once again was able to go for Haterade. That Mercedes ducks, and she again ran into the back, much like last week. Over this time, as Hayter was beginning to celebrate, Mercedes came back out and again blindsided Hayter, putting her into a statement maker until the referees finally pulled Monet off. Mercedes then celebrated not only next to the Owen Hart trophy, but she actually touched it.
Ooh,
Which
she's gonna lose now.
It is the Stanley Cup playoffs. You don't touch the trophy. But James, I really like this. I thought this was a great promo work from Hayter in the interview, and then I think the not only was the brawl good, but I really liked the way that they integrated this unique venue in Detroit.
I agree.
It was something I did want to mention. This was a beautiful venue. I think it was the Masonic Temple or something. It was something with masonry. So I'm sure all the WWE stands will start calling AEW devil worshippers. But I think they did a great job of using this, the uniqueness of the venue to kind of add not only to the show because it looks so beautiful, but to add to just, the realness of this brawl, because they just fought wherever they were out onto the thing. It was great.
No, I completely agree. Yes, excellent venue. I really enjoyed the unique look of it. Beyond that, I think this is the most Jamie's been able to say on TV since she came back.
Oh, definitely since she's came back. Maybe
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they've given her more mic time on Collision, but this was nice to actually hear from her. She's a really good promo, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Granted, this wasn't really a promo. Like, an interview situation is going to naturally just flow differently, but she spoke very well. Very well. Mercedes being Mercedes is just what I expect at this point. She's just awful, and I mean that as a compliment. She's just awful. We're too far away from Double or Nothing for the rule of opposite momentum to dictate that Jamie's going to win.
But she touched the trophy.
I know. I'm rooting for Jamie. Trophy or not, I'm rooting for Jamie in this situation. I'm sorry, Maria. I do not want Mercedes challenging Tony. I just don't.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah. Let her lose the titles before she wins the title.
Yeah, unless Jamie wins the title at All In, which I do think is a possibility, but
I think so too. I think I do. So it's gonna be a good match. That I can say. I think we know for sure it's gonna be a good match.
Yeah. No, I'm very much looking forward to it, especially now, as I think we mentioned last week, Jamie's really gotten back into the flow of things. Like really truly for the first time since she's come back from her injury. Like she's gotten not I don't want to say in ring shape, but she's shaken the rust off. Yeah. And she's I guess I don't know how much differently she has to work coming back from her back injury, but whatever she may or may not have had to change, she's definitely figured all that stuff out, and she's looked great in the ring. Maria also mentioning that Jamie has been cutting promos over on Collision, so I don't know if they've been this long, but at least she's been doing some mic work over there, because I know a lot of her matches since she has been back have been on Collision. So
yeah,
and they've been good from the ones I've seen. They've been real good.
I mean, it's Jamie Hayter, no shock there.
All right, after this, sticking with the women, we had a backstage interview with Willow Nightingale, where Alicia, remembered her name this time, asked Willow about her issues with the Death Riders, and Willow says that the list of people who have issues with them continue to grow. She just wants to be the first one to put her fist in their faces. As she continues to go on about them, Kris Statlander comes over and interrupts and says if Willow doesn't want to talk in the back, they can talk here on camera in front of everyone. Willow asks why, saying she knows that Statlander is sorry and questions what else Stat even has to say at this point. She knows that Statlander is upset about losing to Owen this year, but Willow could have won last year if it wasn't for a certain someone, so Stat just needs to get over it. Stat kind of just sighs and gives up and walks away, but Willow stops her and says if Stat wants to meet in the ring, she knows a bunch of sickos who would love to see that tomorrow night. And Stat agrees, saying that there really is nothing left to say. So we're getting Stat Willow again tomorrow on Collision. And honestly, that might get me to tune in.
So because it's a Thursday, are we thickos?
I'm here for it.
Saturdays for sickos, Thursdays for thickos.
I mean, I can ask the Sickos committee because they always watch the Thursday night college football games.
There you go.
But I might have to wait till like October or September to ask.
Fair enough.
Shout out to Sickos committee, one of the best pods and Twitter / Blue Sky follows you can possibly have if you're not just a college football fan, but just like an obscure sports fan. They are great.
Nice.
After this, we went back to the ring for another match. It was supposed to be Kazuchika Okada versus Kevin Knight in another Eliminator match, this time for the AEW Continental Championship. However, before the match, as Knight was making his entrance, Roosh attacked Knight from behind with Jarlisico running interference with all the refs and stuff. Eventually, Speedball Mike Bailey made his rain down to take out Jarlisico and then save Kevin Knight from Roosh, who had power cords or the camera cords, whatever it was, wrapped around Knight's neck and was choking him out. However, Edwards came down to check on Knight, saying that she could call the match off, but Knight refused. And per the rules of Continental Championship, Aubrey unfortunately had to throw Speedball out because you can't have people at ringside. She's like, Speedball, if we're going to do this, you got to go. And he was like, shit, fine. He eventually left. And the match began with Okada quickly taking it to Knight, but Knight was able to hold on for quite a while. Eventually, he actually was able to get in a spot where he was able to attempt a UFO, but Okada was able to get the knees up and counter it. The two men then went back and forth, and the Knight eventually took down Okada with a pretty nice drop kick. However, Knight then went to the apron and went for a springboard, and Okada returned the drop kick right back at him, just picking him right out of the air. Okada then hit the Rainmaker and was able to pick up the win, and Knight goes to the back of the line in the Eliminator. However, after the match, Okada, for whatever reason, decided that he just didn't like Knight, so he picked him back up and hit him with like 3 more Rainmakers, which is only 2 away from what Kenny Omega can't kick out of. And then...
Whoa.
What, 5? 6? How many does it take to keep Kenny down?
Whoa.
Anyway, Speedball came out and eventually made the save. So hopefully we get Speedball Okada soon. But
I don't know what Kenny did to piss you off, but
it was, I don't know. It was not a knock at Kenny saying it takes 5 or 6 or 7 Rainmakers to keep him down. It takes 1 to keep most people down. It only took 1 to keep Knight down tonight.
Joke's on you. Kenny hasn't been pinned by Okada. Ooh, how many years now?
It's been a minute, but that's what I'm saying.
Let's move on.
So I have to hit double digits for Rainmakers to Kenny? Come on. I'm trying to show some respect.
Let's move on. I am flustered.
All right, fine. Whatever. I like this match. I thought it did a good job of protecting Knight, with the, him getting jumped beforehand. Plus that leads to, a match and or feud with Roosh, which is cool. And Knight, I think, still comes away looking like $1 million here. He battled back against Okada after still getting jumped.
I completely agree.
Made 1 mistake and lost to a guy they were putting over the whole night as one of the greatest of all time. So I thought this was a great night for Kevin Knight. Sorry to borrow Okada's pun there. As Fernando says, Knight has the opportunity to take the title from Kenny in the far future. He's definitely a future AEW champion. I'll grant you that. Or champion in AEW. I don't know about world champion. We'll see.
Fernando saying Kenny will pass the torch to Kevin Knight when he retires. That's a lot of confidence in Kevin Knight. I like the kid a lot, but we'll see. We'll see. That's quite the. Those are quite the shoes to fill. I enjoyed the matchup, especially like you said, they really painted Kevin as like a real fighter after enduring the beatdown from Roosh. Which was hilarious, by the way, when there was that security guard that very clearly didn't know where to be during that segment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that he was literally just in the middle of Roosh and Knight not doing anything, just keeping his hands up like, whoa, 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 let's not do this, whoa. It was rather hilarious. Surprised that Kenny didn't make the save, right?
A little bit.
Like, Kenny didn't show up tonight. I know he's going to be in Boston on Saturday, so maybe he's there already.
What's in Boston?
PAX East. It's
oh,
like
yeah, I know it is. Yeah,
and he's going to be there for a video game.
David used to go to it all the time.
Yeah, really?
In college, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, a little weird that Kenny wasn't there. Okada's always been a dick. Even when he was a babyface, he was kind of a dick. So
yeah.
I like seeing stuff like this, like the repeated rainmakers after the fact. Not even hitting them during the match, hitting them after, I thought was a nice touch. Because if he hit like 3 of them during the match, and that's what put Knight down, it's almost giving Okada giving Knight too much credit. He was like, I beat you with 1, 2, 3. But I'm going to hit you a few more times. I like that. I actually think there's a really big distinction between the two.
Yeah, because the first one is, like, it's giving them respect even though it, like, is trying to show disrespect. Yeah. The second one is, fuck you, that's why. It's exactly. Straight disrespect.
Exactly. So, fun matchup. Knight is...
I have to agree, you know it.
I'm with you there, pal. I'm with you there. Fun matchup. Knight, there is something there with this kid. You could just tell that something good is coming.
Yeah.
And that he's got something. So hopefully he can develop a little bit more. You know, like the fundamentals are there. The ring work is there. He's got charisma. Just let's fine-tune his character a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, he's only been in AEW for a few weeks now, maybe a month, I'm not sure. But he's immediately connected with this audience. He made a great and quick alliance with Speedball, who also has only been there a little while longer, but he's more well-known. So it was going to be easier for him to, I think, click with the AEW crowd. But like as I said, Knight clicked real easy. He's clicked with Speedball as they've been tagging, and he's working great. And I know it's early, but yeah, he's a young dude who's coming in and is a white hot star right now. So hopefully, as you said, he can continue to work and build everything up, and he can be, as you know, a guy like Fernando said, somebody that they can have in the future for a long time as a future champion.
Yep, big time. Big time.
All right. After this, we went backstage once again to hear from that carny piece of shit, Don Callis, and his family. Don decided that he had to call out the Outrunners for some reason. Like maybe it was something on Collision. I don't remember. Anyway, apparently they wanted to challenge who he called RPG Vice. I don't know if that's their new name because Excalibur said Roppongi Vice later. So either Don just forgot or that.
Commentary.
What? No,
they reiterated it on commentary.
Yes, Giovanni said RPG Vice. Oh yeah, but then Excalibur also said that he goes, yeah, Roppongi Vice. So I was like, okay, which one are we using? Either way, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, Don goes on to say he knew a lot of pieces of shit in the 80s, like the Outrunners. So he challenged them to find 2 idiot partners and face 4 members of the family so he could kick their asses back to Tennessee. I did kind of like Don referencing his old-timey his stuff. But yeah, the Roppongi RPG Vice is going to be an interesting thing because I don't know, it might be a issue, like copyright issue with New Japan. So maybe that's why.
I remember in New Japan after Roppongi Vice ended, Rocky was managing a team called Roppongi 3K.
Yeah.
So maybe Roppongi is something that New Japan just straight up owns. Granted, I know they have a partnership, but it might just be something that AEW wants to avoid any issues with.
Yeah, that's very true. Maria's saying, I didn't know Don was a wrestler until today. I just thought he was a manager since the Oddity.
Cyrus the Virus.
Good old Cyrus the Virus.
The
Yeah, because
Jack-
I don't remember. Obviously, I don't remember him wrestling. That was a long time ago. If he was,
It was before I even started watching wrestling.
yeah, because I know of him. Yeah, it was Cyrus the Virus, and then he was like the TNA stooge or TNN stooge, excuse me, in ECW, right, for a while.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he just left wrestling, and he got like a desk job because he had like a business degree and shit, and because he wanted something else to fall back on in case wrestling wasn't going well, and he just decided to get out. And then I guess he came back around with when Kenny was getting big, because that's where I really know him from. Is his,
a little before.
I know him from New Japan, like doing the American commentary and stuff.
Yep.
And then he, started doing stuff with Kenny and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, after this, we came back from commercial to go backstage with the Hurt Syndicate for an interview, as Alicia tried to get a word in with Bobby Lashley, asking if instead of making everyone wait for his answer, Bobby maybe could just give it to everyone right now. Bobby starts to say something, but somebody comes up behind him and whispers in his ear, and then Bobby says that he'll be waiting until next week to give his answer on the advice of legal counsel. MVP then introduces Alicia to longtime Hurt Syndicate legal counsel Harrison Landau, and he says when he speaks, they listen. So
Poor small Mark Sterling.
I mean, hey, first, I think Hurt Syndicate's a little, they get bigger time lawyers, even though Taz and Excalibur thought he felt a little sketchy. And second of all, we have our first member. Sorry, MJF, you're out.
I know I'm going to say something that feels very random. If there was ever a time to bring David Otunga in, this was it.
Oh man, maybe.
This was it.
All right. After this, we headed to our main event, which saw Samoa Joe take on Claudio Castagnoli. I will jump to the end where after hitting a massive springboard uppercut, Claudio taunted the crowd a bit before setting up for the giant swing. However, Joe was able to get a leg free and then hit what kind of looked like an up kick of whatever it was. He was able to quickly get Claudio down to fall onto his back and right into Joe's awaiting arms, where Joe locked in the coquina clutch and quickly forced Claudio to tap out. After the match, the Death Riders started to come to the ring, but Joe was ready for them, and he was quickly joined by chair-wielding powerhouse Hobbs. Moxley made the decision to hold back, so Hobbs took the chair to Claudio a couple of times before setting it up in the middle of the ring, where Joe grabbed Claudio and put him up kind of in like the brainbuster position before dropping him gut first onto the chair back as Moxley looked on. James, I really didn't have a lot of notes for this because that ending felt very abrupt.
I agree. I really agree.
Because they were having a good match together, which surprises no one because I'm sure these guys have worked each other 1,000 times. And I don't mind.
You'd be surprised. When Joe was in Ring of Honor, Claudio was mostly a tag team guy.
Huh.
So, like, they've worked each other before. I know they have, but not as much as you'd imagine.
Fair, but I mean, I'm sure they're good friends and stuff too. So. Yeah. But again, like, I don't mind, the quick finish. It was this was like almost just starting to get going, and then I was very curious to see if Claudio could actually swing Joe, and then all of a sudden it was over, and we were off the air 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
So quick.
Yeah, I agree. I was kind of priming myself up for a little bit of disappointment when I saw the time when the match was getting started. Like, I think it was like 9:50 when they were making their entrances.
They went to commercial like 9:57, 9:58 here on the East Coast.
Yeah, so I was expecting not a long match, and I was expecting kind of an unfortunately lackluster main event. I don't think it was bad. It's also really hard for me to grade because it just wasn't a full match in my opinion.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a bummer. The after match, shenanigans were probably the bigger story anyway. I'm terrified. Why? I got really nervous. He's going to turn on Joe.
I did for a second because we've seen Hobbs work with Moxley in the past.
Yep.
But it was also Hobbs who turned on Moxley. The other thing was, I was like, all right, I don't know how long Hook is out.
Yeah.
They just brought Shibata out for however long, probably till next week. But he was out tonight. And they have the titles after somebody just got hurt while they were holding the titles. It'd be really stupid if you put them in another position where you're down a guy in it with the trios titles. So it was like a split second. I was like, oh God, please God, no. And I was like, they just put him there. There's no way they're going to do it. There's too many reasons not to.
Yeah. But I think it's just years of Shield trauma. The back chair shot. I'll never get over it. I don't think anybody will.
Probably
not. Good segment. Commentary really sowed the seeds of dissent. Moxley's been willing to sacrifice Wheeler Yuta before, but is he willing to sacrifice one of his generals, Claudio Castagnoli? And then he ultimately does. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit.
Yeah, no, I thought Excalibur did a great job of selling that. And where that leads is very interesting as well. I don't know if we're getting the dissolution of the Death Riders just yet, because again, I don't think that all starts to happen until after Mox hopefully loses the title at All In. But I don't even know if it was seeds of dissent or just Moxley is finally being put in the position where he doesn't have the upper hand. I mean, he did. I guess there were points of the Copeland feud where he really didn't either, but this is one where he's losing guys again. So now he's lost Pac for an extended period of time. Not just hey, like they're gonna miss a couple weeks and then return at the match.
Yep.
Like he's gone. Now Claudio just got taken out, so we'll see if he's there next week or if it's just Yuta and Marina attempting to interfere in the steel cage match. So it's interesting, but whatever they end up doing with it, it was a great call by Excalibur. I really did like that part of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, my biggest takeaway from the whole thing.
Wow. Good job, Colin.
Yeah, I mean, it's me. I'm a commentary radio guy. I sometimes focus on that maybe a little bit more than I should, but
no, it's good.
It's just me. Maria saying that Joe is in control of this feud, and I would agree. Joe has come off looking, I think, probably the strongest here. I mean, some of his guys keep getting dropped, but it's been kind of made a point where Moxley is not only getting caught by Joe a couple of times, like he knows Joe could beat him because Joe beat him. So Moxley is having to really try and outsmart Joe. And outside of last week, like Joe, like he was able to do it last week, and that's why Shibata wasn't here this week. But Joe got him this week, so it's been a really interesting chess match to watch between the two.
Lots of back and forth.
Yeah, instead of just Death Rider beatdown every week, which is what we used to be in.
This is much better.
Yeah, like the Death Rider beatdown every week was frustrating, and I understood. Like they were building the faction in the beginning, and it made sense in the beginning, but it went on probably 6 months too long. And if we had gotten more of this for a while, even the past 3 months, I think we would have been seeing, or again, 3 months before, let's say the Copeland stuff started, we would have been. I think the Death Riders would be looked at a lot more favorably right now. Everyone is like, yeah, they're doing a lot better, but we had to deal with all that crap to get here. And now we're all just waiting for Moxley to lose the title. Yep. And I think if we had gotten more of this earlier, we'd all be like, oh, like the culmination of this has been great. Like, yeah, Moxley's probably going to lose the title, but it's been such a great ride. No one feels that way. Maria also saying Excalibur is underrated as an announcer. Yeah, he's great.
I love Excalibur. Excalibur. I know he has some detractors, but I honestly don't get it. I think he does great.
Yeah, no, he's my guy. And I mean, even like I had to look up a PWG match the other day because I had to show my cousin the Bucks super kicking Candice LeRae with the thumbtacks, and I ended up watching a good chunk of that match. And obviously, Excalibur was doing it. And even back then, he is so good.
Yeah.
Fernando saying he'd rather listen to Excalibur and Nigel over Cole and McAfee any day. I think I would agree. But again, it's it's personal preference, and I don't think that's I'm not knocking Cole or McAfee. I like Cole a lot. McAfee, he's an acquired taste. But
I think McAfee is good in small doses.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Him and Cole though sometimes are really good. Like when they copy each other, that's what I love about them. But
I have said this time and time again. The best thing McAfee does is bring the best out of Cole.
Yes.
I am willing to put up with McAfee because of how much better he makes Cole. And Cole is already... I know Cole has a bad rap because years of being Vince's like mouthpiece. But realistically, Cole is incredible as a commentator.
Yeah. And I don't always love him and what he does, but whatever, that happens,
Yeah.
You're not going to always like a guy's call. Gary Cohen's the TV play-by-play guy for the Mets. I don't always love all his calls, and he's one of the best in the business. So,
I actively hated John Sterling for years.
An A-bomb from A-Rod.
God. The Yankees win. Shut up.
The Yankees lose.
What the fuck, bro? We're out. I was shit-talking the guy. I don't know. What did I do?
I was just complimenting David Ortiz as a commentator, although he is in the studio. Speaking of other teams, Excalibur and Taz on Dark is probably the funniest thing you can watch in wrestling. It's just them doing a podcast with a match in the background and just cracking each other up. It is great. I missed that. Those episodes of Botchamania were phenomenal when Matthew was just cutting all that shit together. I do miss that so much. But let's close things out here because that was Dynamite, and this was a good episode. It was weird. It's another one of those episodes where like I felt like nothing happened, even though a bunch of shit. And we got some really great wrestling out of it. So I feel like we're still kind of simmering before we probably the next 2 weeks we're probably really going to start boiling over as we get closer to Double or Nothing, especially considering next week is Beach Break.
Yes. Look, good segments, good matches, filler-ish regardless. Hangman, Ospreay, great back and forth, great promos from both men.
Yeah, especially too. That was like the opening salvo of what's going to happen for them. So
the trios match, fun. Okada Knight, fun. Main event, slightly disappointing. Women's 4-way, fun.
Bang.
Yeah. No, bump.
That too. Well, no, that was the segment before.
Yeah.
Segment of the night.
But overall, you never want to say if I miss a show, I didn't miss much. But that was kind of the case here. Yeah,
I mean, Maria's saying it was a good wrestling show, but there were no storylines, and that's okay. I wouldn't say there are no storylines. I thought some stuff got moved forward.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like we're still, like I said, we're still kind of simmering because I don't think they wanted to. They have to set up for Beach Break next week because that's a big show and they're putting a lot of big matches on it. But then we also have next week is Beach Break, and then we got and then one more Dynamite. So yeah, I mean, I think Beach Break and the week after are really going to pop off, and then we got Double or Nothing on the 25th. So we're setting stuff up, and they did, they're kind of playing the game of we got to set stuff up for next week while playing the longer game for 2.5 weeks. So trust me, it's there. And like I mentioned, it's going to boil over starting next week. Or maybe I think it's going to come to a boil next week and then boil over the week after.
Yeah.
Well, unless that cage match slaps, in which case we'll see.
The bar was set by Ospreay and Fletcher.
That's true. That is very true. Hopefully they give them a good chunk of time too.
Yeah,
it's just holding out for MJF's new crew. We'll see. A A lot of people predicting that. We shall see.
It's Bobby's crew. Let's be fair.
Well, yeah. Well, it depends on new crew, whether it's him joining the Hurt business or he goes and picks up some new lads. Pinnacle 2 Electric Boogaloo. And all right. On that note, I would like to thank everyone so much for watching us here at the Mark It Down Podcast. We appreciate it. If you like to subscribe, if you liked what we did here tonight, and you like the video, lets us know that you're enjoying what we're doing. We can continue to do it. And if you subscribe, you can continue to get all the good stuff here on the pod. Obviously, we were back here pretty much every Wednesday for Dynamite. Got the Gym Pack Zone on Thursdays, although James is getting a little interfered with by Collision. So
I don't know what I'm covering tomorrow. I feel like I'm going to cover something. I just don't know if it's going to be Collision or TNA.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch Collision tomorrow, but I'll let you know. I have been doing my best to watch it, though. I know I keep saying that. I've watched the last few weeks. I fell asleep during the main event of the last one, so I got to catch up on that. The FTR match. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Leave me alone. But yeah, it's been good. So yeah, if you guys are able to watch Collision, I highly recommend you do so. I believe there is a WWE pay-per-view this Saturday. Is it? When is Backlash? Is it not this Saturday?
That would be nuts. Go on.
Is it not May 10th? I thought it was May. It's the 10th or the 17th. I thought it was the 10th because
it is. Holy crap on a cracker. It is this Saturday.
I told you because I have a Met game, so I won't be around. But James will hopefully be able to
No, buddy, I'm going to be at Northeast Wrestling. I will be front row watching the Hardys, Mickey James, Breezango.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to our friends at Northeast Wrestling. They always put on a good card. If you're up here, in the Northeast. So do your best to get over there if you can. But yeah, I'm sure somebody will cover that pay-per-view. So subscribe and you'll watch probably Matt and Danny cover it on Saturday. And then
I'm sorry already, guys. I'm sorry in advance.
Yeah. And then as I mentioned, we'll be back here next Wednesday. For those of you who want to follow us on social media and you're watching here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky, all in the description and below. All the links are there. My head is starting to give out because this cold is slowly creeping up back in my head because I'm burning myself out here. And if you're watching over on Facebook or on Twitter and you want to follow us on the other stuff, Twitter is at marketdown_pod. Instagram is at marketdownpod. YouTube.com/marketdown3665. Blue Sky is marketdownpodcast.bsky.social. Or just search Mark It Down Podcast in any of your social media stuff, and we shall come up. James, anything you would like to say before we get out of here?
I'm tired, boss.
That sounds about right. Happy Mother's Day to any mothers who happen to be watching us. So happy Mother's Day to you over the weekend. And for James Sasanti, I'm Nick Cummings. Thank you for watching us so much here. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Mark It Down Podcast. We need to go to bed. Have a good one, everyone.